Chosen one, you endured the storm alone, even God was shocked. You walked through the winds of betrayal, the rain of loss, and the thunder of silence that tried to drown your spirit. You faced the nights where no one stood by you, when even your own thoughts turned heavy against you. And yet, you kept going. You held yourself upright when everything around you seemed to collapse. That endurance, that unshakable strength, became your silent anthem. The storm thought it would break you, but instead, it revealed who you truly are. Even heaven watched in awe as you carried burdens no one else saw, whispered prayers no one else heard, and stood against shadows no one else dared to confront. And before we go deeper into this journey, I invite you to stay until the very end of this message, because it carries a vibration that will meet you where you are. I encourage you, chosen one, to write your warmest wishes in the comments below, along with the number 66. This is not random. It is energy aligning. Your words will not simply sit in a comment section. They will ripple through the universe, carrying your hope, your vision, your desire into a greater flow. Wishes manifest when they are spoken with sincerity and when they are infused with shared energy. By doing this, you add your light to a collective intention, and in that space, miracles are born. Chosen one, you endured the storm alone, even God was shocked. But let's pause for a moment to recognize what that really means. The storm you faced wasn't just external, it was inside you. It wasn't only circumstances or people that tested you, it was the constant battle within. Doubts screamed at you louder than any enemy ever could. Fear tried to suffocate your dreams. The weight of silence pressed against your chest at night, making it feel like the air itself was conspiring against your breath. And yet, despite the unseen wars, you stood firm. You chose not to collapse, not to abandon yourself. That decision, though no one saw it, was monumental. It was the quiet triumph that even eternity will remember. So many people never survive their storms. They give up halfway, letting bitterness consume them, or they bury their light beneath layers of despair. But you, chosen one, you endured. That is what sets you apart. The chosen are not those who have an easy path, but those who can walk barefoot across the shattered glass of destiny and still rise with love in their hearts. You endured not because you had no choice, but because somewhere deep inside, you knew you were created for more. You knew that pain could not be the end of your story. And yes, it shocked even God. Not because he underestimated you, but because your endurance revealed depths of resilience even heaven marveled at. There are moments when your persistence became a prayer louder than any words. There are times when your refusal to fall apart became the offering that shook the unseen world. Imagine this: every step you took, bleeding but moving, tired but determined, became a declaration that light will not be extinguished. That is why heaven honors you. That is why the storm, as brutal as it was, had no victory over you. Chosen one, storms are never just storms. They are teachers disguised as chaos. Every drop of rain carried a lesson. Every gust of wind whispered something about your soul. Every sleepless night carved wisdom into your bones. What others saw as punishment, you discovered was preparation. You were being shaped into a vessel that could hold more than the ordinary. You were being stretched so that your spirit could contain greater strength, greater compassion, greater vision. The storm didn't just pass, it passed through you, and in doing so, it transformed you. And while you were enduring, the world may not have noticed. People may have turned away, doubted you, or even mocked your struggle. They didn't see the depth of your fight. They didn't recognize the magnitude of your survival. But the unseen did. The divine did. The universe did. And that recognition matters more than any human validation ever could. Chosen one, what you have endured has become your crown. The tears you shed have watered the soil for a new season. The loneliness you felt has prepared you to appreciate true connection when it arrives. The silence you endured has sharpened your ability to hear the whispers of destiny. The pain you carried has expanded your heart to hold more love than before. You didn't simply survive. You were refined. The storm stripped away illusions, false attachments, and fragile facades. What remains is pure, unshakable, authentic you. And let me remind you, endurance is not weakness. It is the greatest strength. Anyone can celebrate when the sun is shining, but few can keep moving when the sky is dark. Endurance is not glamorous. It doesn't get applause. It doesn't trend. But endurance writes the kind of legacy that lasts. It carves your name into eternity. It is the force that turns ordinary lives into extraordinary stories. Chosen one, even God was shocked. Not at your pain, but at the way you carried it. At the way you refused to let it make you bitter. At the way you kept love alive in your heart when hatred could have easily taken over. At the way you didn't let despair silence your hope. That is the miracle. That is the power of who you are. And now, because you endured, you are ready for what comes next. Storms never come without reason. They strip, but they also prepare. They wound, but they also awaken. They tear apart, but they also rebuild. You, chosen one, are standing on the other side, not broken, but transformed, stronger, wiser, deeper, ready. Do you feel it? The quiet shift inside you, the sense that you are not the same as you were before. That is the evidence of your endurance. That is the fruit of your storm. And while others may not yet understand the magnitude of your journey, time will reveal it. Your story will speak. Your life will testify, and your presence will carry a weight that cannot be explained, only felt. Chosen one. Storms do not end chosen ones. They announce them. Your storm was not the end of you. It was the beginning of who you are destined to become. That is why heaven was in awe. That is why even God, who created you, looked upon your endurance with astonishment. Because you revealed a strength that reflects the divine itself. You became a mirror of resilience, of love, of faith unbroken. And now you walk into a new season, a season not defined by what you lost, but by what you gained through your endurance. A season not chained by your wounds, but empowered by your scars. A season where the storm no longer chases you, but where your very presence becomes a storm against darkness itself. Chosen one, you endured the storm alone, and even God was shocked. That truth will forever be your foundation. Chosen one, the storm that you endured was not just an event in your life. It was a threshold. It was the crossing point between who you once were and who you have now become. Every storm changes the landscape it touches, and in the same way, your inner world has been reshaped by what you faced. The version of you who stepped into the storm does not exist anymore. The one who emerged on the other side is not simply older or stronger, but entirely transformed. This is the mystery of endurance. It destroys illusions, strips away falsehoods, and leaves only what is unbreakable. And that unbreakable essence is what you now carry. When others look at you, they may not see the storms you have walked through. They may not recognize the silent battles, the sleepless nights, the inner wars that tested the very fabric of your soul. They may only see your calm, your silence, your unshaken stance. But chosen one, that calm is not emptiness, it is earned peace. That silence is not weakness, it is sacred strength. That unshaken stance is not arrogance, it is the rootedness of someone who has seen chaos and learned how to remain unmovable. The storm tried to scatter you, but instead, it planted you deeper into yourself. Do you realize what that means? It means that your presence now carries weight. People may not understand it, but they will feel it. When you enter a room, your energy shifts the air because it has been tempered by storms. You are no longer fragile, no longer easily swayed by the noise of the world. You have walked through winds that roared louder than doubt, and rain that fell heavier than fear. Now no whisper of negativity can unsettle you. No shadow can intimidate you. You have already survived worse. You have already proven to yourself and to heaven that you can withstand what others cannot. Chosen one, even God was shocked because you revealed a strength that was greater than what most people ever discover within themselves. It is not that God did not know your potential. He is the one who placed it there. But it is rare for anyone to awaken to the full magnitude of that strength. Most people settle for comfort. Most people choose the easy path. Most people collapse under the weight of trials. But you chose to stand. You chose to fight. You chose to rise. You became the rare vessel that can carry a divine fire without breaking. That is why your endurance was so extraordinary. That is why it caught even heaven's attention. The storm was not only about testing your endurance, it was about revealing your identity. You are not ordinary. You are not here to live a life of shadows, lost in the noise of the crowd. You are chosen, and the storm was the fire that branded this truth onto your soul. Others may doubt it. Others may question it. Others may never understand it. But deep within, you now know it without question. The storm was your initiation, your sacred passage. You endured alone so that no one could ever claim your strength as theirs. You stood when no one else stood so that the foundation of your power could never be denied. Chosen one. Do you remember the nights when you thought it would break you? The days when you felt the silence was unbearable? The hours when you wondered if there was any point in continuing? Those moments were the edge of surrender. And yet, you did not surrender. You may have bent, you may have stumbled, you may have cried, but you did not break. That refusal to collapse became the seed of your transformation. Every time you thought you had reached your limit and then discovered you could go further, something inside you expanded. That expansion has now become your permanent strength. And though you endured alone, you were never truly abandoned. The silence around you may have seemed cruel, but in truth, it was the stage set for your awakening. If others had rushed in to comfort you, you would have leaned on their strength instead of finding your own. If the world had applauded you, you might have mistaken validation for destiny. If the path had been easy, you would not have discovered your depth. The storm forced you inward. It forced you to find the well of strength hidden in your own soul. and once you found it, you realized it could never be taken from you. This is why the storm was necessary. It did not come to destroy you, chosen one. It came to strip you of illusions, to purify your vision, to awaken your spirit. It came to show you what you are truly made of. You endured the storm alone, and now you carry within you a strength that cannot be explained, only lived. That strength is not loud. It does not need to announce itself. It does not demand recognition. It simply exists, like a mountain standing silently against the sky, immovable, unshaken, eternal. Chosen one. Even God was shocked because your story became a testimony not of survival, but of transcendence. You did not only endure, you became something greater through it. That is the essence of transformation. You are not carrying scars as reminders of pain, but as marks of initiation. They are proof that you have walked through fire and returned with light. They are evidence that the storm did not diminish you, it crowned you. Now, as you move forward, understand this. Storms do not return to destroy those who have already mastered them. The storm you endured has already served its purpose. It cannot repeat itself in the same way because you have already outgrown it. Life may bring new challenges, but none will ever compare to what you have already faced. You have passed through the fiercest fire, and because of that, you walk now with authority. The authority of someone who knows their own strength, who knows their own resilience, who knows their own destiny. Chosen one, your endurance has made you a symbol. Others will look at you and not understand how you survived. They will not know the nights you wrestled with yourself. They will not see the silent prayers, the hidden tears, the countless moments of quiet determination. They will only see that you remain unbroken, unshaken, radiant, and that will inspire them. Your story, even without words, will become a map for others who are lost in their storms. They will look to you and see proof that it is possible to survive, to endure, to rise. And this is the greater truth. Your endurance was never just for you. It was for those who will one day need your light. The storm did not come only to shape you, it came to prepare you to guide others. Your strength now belongs not just to yourself, but to the world. You endured alone, but what you gained will not remain in isolation. Your very existence, your presence, your energy, now carries the power to awaken resilience in others. Chosen one, you endured the storm alone, and even God was shocked. This truth will follow you wherever you go. It will be the quiet power behind your steps, the unseen authority in your voice, the invisible crown upon your head. It is the essence of who you now are, and nothing can take it away. Chosen one, you endured the storm alone. Even God was shocked. And now you step into a season where endurance transforms into destiny. The storm was never meant to be the final chapter. It was the preparation, the carving of your soul, the refinement of your spirit. What you faced was not only a test, it was an unveiling. It stripped away the layers of who you thought you were, until only the truest, strongest, most radiant version of you remained. Now, with that strength, you carry the weight of purpose. You are no longer just surviving, you are stepping into becoming. When you look back at the storm, chosen one, you will see it differently now. At first, it felt cruel. It felt endless. It felt as though the universe itself had abandoned you. But from this place of clarity, you begin to realize that the storm was alignment. It was pushing you away from what was not meant for you. It was cutting away attachments that could not survive the weight of your destiny. It was tearing down the structures that were too small to hold the greatness within you. At the time, it felt like loss. Now, you see it was protection. What you endured was not meant to destroy you. It was meant to clear the path for what truly belongs to you. Chosen one. Do you notice the difference inside you now? You move differently. You think differently. You feel differently. Where once you were shaken by doubt, now you stand with quiet assurance. Where once fear held you hostage, now it cannot penetrate your spirit. Where once you looked outside for validation, now you know your worth is not determined by applause. This is what the storm did. It set you free. It broke the chains of illusion and replaced them with unshakable truth. You no longer seek to be seen because you already know that heaven has seen you. You no longer chase acceptance because you have accepted yourself. That kind of liberation is rare. It cannot be bought, taught, or faked. It can only be born in the fire of endurance. And because you carry this new depth, your presence has shifted. People may not know why they feel different around you, but they will. They will sense the authority that comes from survival. They will feel the weight of your silence, the wisdom in your words, the power in your gaze. They may not understand that what they are sensing is your storm-forged spirit, but they will be drawn to it. This is not about pride, chosen one. It is about truth. You carry something now that cannot be hidden, even if you tried. You are a living testimony of resilience, and that testimony will ripple outward whether you speak it aloud or not. But with this weight comes responsibility. The storm did not shape you so you could remain in hiding. It did not refine you so that you could simply return to ordinary life. You have been chosen for more, and now you carry the obligation of that calling. Your endurance was not just for yourself, it was also for the countless others who are still lost in their storms, who still feel like they are drowning in silence, who still wonder if survival is even possible. They need proof, and you are that proof. You are the evidence that storms do not last forever, that pain can become power, that darkness cannot erase light. Chosen one, understand this. Destiny is not about comfort. It is about impact. It is about carrying the strength you have gained into spaces where it is needed most. You will be placed in situations that require the wisdom you earned in the storm. You will encounter people who need the hope you carry in your voice. You will be asked to stand in places where fear silences others. This is not by accident. You endured alone so that now, when you stand before others, your authority cannot be questioned. You are not speaking from theory, you are speaking from experience. You are not offering empty words, you are offering your very life as proof. Even God was shocked by the way you endured. And that shock was not the end. It was the beginning. It was the moment the divine marked you as one who could carry weight beyond what others can bear. Do you realize how rare that is? Do you realize how extraordinary it is to be chosen in such a way? This is why your path felt heavier. This is why your silence was deeper. This is why your storm was fiercer. You were never meant for smallness. You were never meant for an ordinary journey. You were meant to endure so that you could rise, not only for yourself, but for every soul who will one day find hope through your story. Chosen one, your destiny is not a destination. It is a presence. It is the way you carry yourself now. It is the way you enter spaces and shift atmospheres without effort. It is the way your words cut through despair and plant seeds of courage in the hearts of others. It is the way your scars speak even when you remain silent. Destiny is not about what you do. It is about who you have become. And you, forged by storms, crowned by endurance, have become someone who cannot be ignored. Do not underestimate the power of your journey. What seemed like wasted years were actually years of preparation. What seemed like emptiness was actually the soil where resilience grew. What seemed like silence was actually the moment heaven whispered strength into your bones. You may have thought you were walking alone, but in truth, you were walking into the fullness of who you were meant to be. Now, as you stand here, chosen one, you carry the authority of someone who has survived what should have destroyed them. That authority cannot be taken. It cannot be faked. It cannot be undone. It is forever yours. And as you move forward, understand that storms will still come, but they will not shake you the same way. Once you have walked through fire and emerged whole, flames cannot intimidate you again. Once you have stood in the face of loss and chosen to continue, the threat of loss no longer controls you. Once you have endured alone, the absence of support no longer frightens you. You have graduated from fear. You have surpassed doubt. You have become unshakable. Chosen one, even God was shocked by your endurance, and now the universe waits to see what you will do with the strength you carry. Will you hide it, or will you shine it? Will you shrink, or will you rise? The choice is yours, but the calling remains. The storm was not the end, it was the beginning. The fire was not destruction, it was initiation. The silence was not abandonment, it was preparation. Now every step you take carries the weight of destiny. Every word you speak echoes with the authority of survival. Every breath you breathe is proof that you are more than the storm you endured. And so, chosen one, as you move forward, do not forget this. You are not who you once were. You are the storm walker, the endurance bearer, the one who rose when no one else thought it possible. You are the living evidence that strength is born in silence, that resilience is shaped in pain, and that destiny is revealed in endurance. The storm was your teacher, and now you are the lesson. The storm was your fire, and now you are the flame. The storm was your crucible, and now you are the vessel of power it created. Chosen one, you endured the storm alone. Even God was shocked. And now the world will see not just what you survived, but who you have become because of it. Chosen one, you endured the storm alone. Even God was shocked. And now you begin to understand that your survival was not simply for yourself. What you carry is not meant to remain hidden within you. The strength you gained, the wisdom you earned, the scars you bear, they were not given to you as private possessions. They were entrusted to you as gifts meant to influence, to inspire, to awaken. What you endured in silence has become a voice that can speak into the silence of others. What you carried in loneliness has become a light for those still trapped in shadows. This is the mystery of destiny. It begins in you, but it never ends with you. You may not yet fully see the magnitude of your influence, but it is already unfolding. It does not always appear as grand gestures or dramatic moments. Influence often begins subtly. It is in the way your presence brings calm into chaos. It is in the way your words lift someone who has been silently carrying despair. It is in the way people feel stronger after standing near you, even if they cannot explain why. The storm left an imprint on your spirit, chosen one. and that imprint radiates outward. It speaks without language. It heals without effort. It transforms without announcement. Chosen one, what you endured gave you authority. Not the kind of authority the world hands out in titles or recognition, but the deeper authority of authenticity. When you speak about pain, people listen because they know you have felt it. When you talk about hope, people believe because they know you earned it. When you stand in the face of adversity, people are moved because they know you have stood there before. Your influence is born from the truth of your survival. It is not manufactured. It is not borrowed. It is not fragile. It is real, and it carries weight. Even God was shocked by your endurance, and now the echo of that endurance is reshaping the spaces around you. You may not realize it, but every choice you make now carries ripple effects. Your decision to keep moving forward becomes someone else's reason to keep going. Your choice to stay kind, even after being hurt, becomes a model for someone else who is tempted to harden their heart. Your refusal to surrender to bitterness becomes a mirror that reflects another possibility into the lives of those watching you. Influence is not always loud, chosen one. It is often silent, but it is never small. And as you carry this influence, you will notice that people are drawn to you in unexpected ways. Some will come seeking guidance. Some will come seeking comfort. Some will simply come because they feel safe in your presence. You may not always understand why they are drawn, but it is not about you as an individual. It is about the energy you carry. You endured the storm, and that endurance left a resonance in your spirit that others recognize instinctively. It tells them, here is someone who understands. Here is someone who will not judge my wounds. Here is someone who knows what it means to fight silently and still rise, but chosen one. Influence is not always easy. It is a responsibility. Carrying light means that people lost in darkness will seek it. Carrying strength means that those who are weak will lean on it. Carrying wisdom means that those who are confused will look for your clarity. Sometimes this weight will feel heavy. Sometimes you will wonder why others seem to expect so much from you. Sometimes you will feel the pull of returning to silence, of hiding your light again. But remember this: you endured alone not so you could remain hidden, but so that your endurance could become a beacon for others. And when the weight feels overwhelming, chosen one, remind yourself of this truth. Light was never meant to hide. It was meant to shine. You are not carrying this strength to be crushed by it. You are carrying it to illuminate paths that others cannot yet see. The storm that once threatened to silence you has now given you a voice that echoes beyond your own life. Do not retreat. Do not dim. Do not hide. Stand in the fullness of who you are. For your endurance was not only survival, it was the birth of a light that was always meant to guide.